Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for coming. You are the salt of the earth. You are, I would say, in the avenue of things, you're the most important audience in the world. Pray that President Trump grows some, you know what, and starts going after the governors. And apparently he is, and he's getting some help from all over the world. This is brought to you by Noble Gold, of course. And after you hear what I'm about to read, if you don't call 877-646-5347 and start diversifying your portfolio, you may not have a portfolio. And there's what? According to CBS, half of America has been laid off, and there were 160 million employees, and that makes 80 to 85 million unemployed Americans. And a lot of them have 401ks. They need to convert to IRAs or something, and Noble Gold knows how to do all that stuff. Colin was talking about it on Noble Gold's video channel, how to call them and how to do that. Because otherwise you're going to be invested in things that like negative rates. Powell said he's going to do negative rates now. You want to lose money? Do nothing. You want to lose it all and not talk to Noble Gold? Do nothing. Hey, I'm on the phone with them a lot. I don't have much, but I want you to know all your options. The battle for planet Earth rages on. The good guys are winning, but the rabbit hole of evil goes deep. Very, very deep. My role in all of this is to gather prayer so that the United States and the President can take the right course and literally to stop this planet from turning into a, I don't know, granola floating in the wind, like they did to the last planet between Mars and Jupiter. The secret space program is about to be unveiled if they get the screws put to them enough. The other thing that they said is the veil of reality is changing. Now, the United Nations talks about that, the Lucifer Trust, which is why they want to kill off humanity and change everything. But killing off humanity is not an option here. Blowing planet Earth up is not an option. The sun is changing frequencies because it's burning more helium than hydrogen, and that turns into magnesium, which turns into sodium, which is white hot, which is why the World Economic Forum decided to change every single genetic species on planet Earth. And one of the latest things they've come up with is a 4-inch wasp that's invading America. Oh my God, what an insane thing that's happening. I'll tell you what, our government is so evil. I mean, who would create a wasp this big? It's just beyond belief how evil the government is. 1 million reservists are being called up. The bankruptcy of the United States has, this is Benjamin Fulford's report. We're going to have him on real soon. We've been texting back and forth, what, Jane, 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 years, something like that. He's a guy who's trying to do, I think he's 4 years younger than me. He's a guy who's trying to do his very best to preserve humanity and shut down this evil, satanic, human-worshipping cabal that's all over the world. So he organized the White Dragon Society, and along with that are a lot of people you'd never suspect would join him, like the mobs, because they know that if there's no planet Earth, they don't have a business platform. Bankruptcy of the United States Corporation is now leading to the mass release of the non-violent criminals. Apparently, Benjamin Fulford was talking to a guy who is a colleague in Singapore, and he was approached by a guy selling U.S. bonds backed by prison labor forces. Unbelievable. So the number of prisoners in prison is to sell bonds to keep the system going. So they keep increasing the number of prisoners. We pay for the prison space, and they make products for private industry, like, license plate. Unbelievable. The bankruptcy of the United States is going to shut this gulag down. There's no more money. What they're creating is worthless paper. The sheeple are beginning to realize that they've been lied to over a mild flu, according to the CDC. We've shown you that paperwork a dozen times. They've been locked in their homes in violation of our Constitution. We have a criminal cabal running every state in the nation, and it needs to be taken down, including Texas. We had a gal arrested for operating a salon because the Texas executive order said she can't. So they said, we want to rid of habeas corpus. What law did she break? She didn't break any law.
She's out now.
Oh, yeah, she's out with a $70,000 fine. And the judge says you can either bow to me and apologize to me for running a hair salon or pay $70,000. So they raised $200,000 for it.
No, now it's $500,000.
Yeah, this was a setup because it went to the Supreme Court. And none of the demon rats are willing to take it to the U.S. Supreme Court because they know they'll lose. Especially since they've just had another Darth Vader Ginsburg die, and now they got to find another male with a beard to shave and put in her place. Unbelievable. The sheeple are realizing this, and then the New York Post reported that Bill Gates may have created the COVID-19 in order to microchip people, and the NSA is saying the same thing. Benjamin has all the references to this. And why am I going through the story? Because when we interview him, you have to understand the depth in which he goes to bring us the news about what's going on. He's a reporter. Oh man, he's a good reporter too. Him and Greg Hunter. Top-notch reporters. The Russians have hysterically been attacked because they were able to find the leadership of this mafia, and they have pictures over and over again of Angela Merkel, Adolf Hitler's mother, I think grandmother, and then they have Theresa May, remember her, Great Britain, and Dalia Grybauskaitė from Lithuania. They have found out that the leaders across Europe are Adolf Hitler's kids, because you see, Hitler, when he knew he was going to lose the war, he left in a plane, and then he flew to Norway, because there was a corridor from Berlin to Norway that they blocked with the Luftwaffe. And then he got on a submarine, went to Argentina, went across Argentina, went right into Peru, and there's a camp there that they've shown. Actually, we were watching a YouTube video. They were showing the camp, Adolf Hitler's camp. And then they eventually moved. The Bush family bought the camp. But we know that from the pilot, the Nazis moved to Antarctica, and there's 9 circles. If you get within 100 miles, your plane just vaporizes. She says, when we fly into Antarctica, we've got certain routes we've got to take. And if 5G is installed, those GPSs go nuts, and then the planes go into that area, and poof, the Nazis don't care if we're stupid enough to install 5G. And all those 5G tests, there was one just done in Japan where the guy set up a 5G tower, and birds started falling out of the sky, and he investigated, and the lungs had blown up. So the false flag attack on 9/11, the Nazis fulfilled their dream of making this country a National Socialist dictatorship. That's what we have, a National Socialist dictatorship, where a governor can say, I'm ordering everybody to stay at home. All 20 million of you, you can't come out of your houses. And people are stupid enough to believe it. Oh my God. That's what's scary, is people are stupid enough to do that. Over a mild flu. So, go ahead, Jane. So anyway, a little bit about Adolf Hitler. Governor of Michigan used to work for George Soros, who worked with Adolf Hitler. The governor of California is Nancy Pelosi's nephew. Nancy Pelosi is Hitler's niece. Did you know Nancy Pelosi was a Nazi? Adam Schiff's sister is married to George Soros' son.
I knew that.
Oh, a tight little family. John Kerry's daughter is married to Mullah's son of Iran. Hillary's daughter, Chelsea, is married to George Soros' nephew and a devout Satanist. He runs around the country doing human sacrifices. She's talked about it. ABC News executive producer Ian Cameron is married to Susan Rice's Obama former national security advisor. CBS President David Rhodes is brother of Ben Rhodes, Obama's deputy national secretary for strategic communications. And we all know Obama was what they call in Revelations the destroyer. Abaddon. We've given that 100 times. ABC News correspondent Claire Shipman is married to Jay Carney, former Obama White House press secretary. ABC News and Univision reporter Matthew Jeffay is married to Katie Hogan, Obama's former deputy press secretary. ABC's President Ben Sherwood is the brother of Elizabeth Sherwood, Obama's former special advisor. And CNN President Virginia Mosley is married to Tom Nides, former Hillary Clinton's deputy secretary. And we all know Bill Ayers put a pipe bomb in front of the San Francisco Police Department and killed Sergeant Ryan and blew somebody else's face off and blinded him with a pipe bomb filled with nails. And he helped raise Obama. He was one of his special advisors. He's never been brought to trial for killing a cop. This is what the Democrats do. They kill cops. So if you're a cop and you're following the orders of a Democratic governor, you're dumber than a rock. You have an IQ less than 80. Your governor wants you dead. That's why Obama had Bill Ayers, a cop killer, as one of his top advisors. So, those who've already been arrested, most of these actors I don't know because I don't have a TV, Jane. Do you know who Seth Green is?
Seth Green used to be a
Actor?
person. No.
How about James Gunn, Dan Schneider? Anyway, according to Benjamin Fulford, they're at house arrest. Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Jimmy Kimmel, the great socialist pig, Ashton Kutcher, Kevin Spacey, the weirdo, strange guy, Oprah Winfrey, for murder, Beyonce Knowles. I think Oprah was, because they caught her on camera with doing real bad stuff. Beyonce, Jim Carrey, Ben Affleck, Will Ferrell, Charlie Sheen, Will Smith, John Cusack, Meryl Streep, Robert Downey Jr.
I knew that one.
Guess there won't be any more Iron Man. They'll probably allow him to act in Hollywood. I mean, they'll have him under house arrest. Courtney Love, Alec Baldwin, Johnny Depp. I don't know who Asia Argentino is. But she's got tattoos all over her body. She's just a scum. Madonna Siccone. We know who Madonna is, but we didn't know her last name. And then some political elites that are under arrest, according to Benjamin. And I think he's right on this. Joe Biden, which is why he's not going to rallies and getting 3 or 4 people at the rally. John McCain, Bob Menendez, John Podesta, Tony Podesta, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Chelsea Clinton. But Bill Clinton were on what, number 3? Because the original Bill Clinton had a big bulbous nose. Chelsea Clinton, Jeff Flake, Bob Corker, Jacob Schwartz, Ed Murray, Barney Frank. Finally, somebody put that weird freak in jail. And then Justin Trudeau, Andrew Cuomo. Wow, I didn't know Trudeau, the girl, is in jail. They pumped her up with so much testosterone after we exposed her that she grew a beard. Unbelievable. Chris Cuomo, Bob Francis, Peter Soros. That's George Soros' son, isn't it?
I think so.
Prince Andrew, the pedophile. Barack Obama, but we're on Barack Obama number 6. Anderson Cooper, Sheila Jackson Lee. They're all under some kind of a house arrest. And for some reason, this pandemic, this horrible disease, who knows where it came from. But we know one thing, it didn't come from a stupid bat. Just like HIV didn't come from having hoochie coochie with a green monkey. The pandemic is also clear for some reason. Their bioweapon attack did not wipe out the human race. Oops! And he has a story that shows the real cause of death for all these people they're claiming died of the pandemic. And it's mostly heart attack and cancer. And then Washington has to respond to the fact why they have the National Institutes of Health funding over 100 bioweapons factories around the world. And everywhere there's a bioweapons factory, there's a disease outbreak. Plum Island, Lyme's disease. Hello, it first broke out. You could see Plum Island from the coast of New York. That's where Lyme's disease started, not Lyme's, Connecticut. But like Hitler said, you tell a lie, enough people believe it. So they have to explain that. Unbelievable. So the Jiangsu news agency in China said Washington must respond to the concern that belated and chaotic U.S. response has actually accelerated the spread of the virus to more places around the world. It's not the U.S., it's the CIA. They have their own army. They have their own navy. They have their own air force. They have their own Marines, and they have their own hitmen. And they've got an unlimited source of funding thanks to the U.S. troops supporting the opium growth in Afghanistan, because opium growth multiplied by 10 times after the U.S. arrived. Russia tried to do it, but they didn't have the might to increase the opium production. So they left and the U.S. went in there. So here's a test. Last week, the veterinarian I take my dogs to, this is Benjamin, approached me and with a fascinating story. He said they did a 5G experiment at Zenpukuji Park, close to his home in Tokyo. Birds started falling out of the sky. I was called over and I took 3 dead pigeons back to my hospital and examined them. They all had ruptured lungs. Gee, just like they said the COVID-19 does. Oh, but there's no link, right? We're not saying there's a link. Just because everywhere they put 5G, people die of exploded lungs. There's no link. Birds are also dropping out of the sky in other places like Australia where they're installing 5G. Dr. Michael Mehring talked about the creation of the AIDS virus and how the HIV virus was spread. It was put in hepatitis B vaccinations into Rhodesia. Cuba invaded. What's the matter? Oh, okay. Sorry. These people need to be removed from prison as soon as possible. They're trying to crash the dollar by crashing the price of oil. The cabal is fighting back. We now have half of all Americans out of office. And you know, they're just blatant about it. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York said we have $6.66 trillion. 666. Tell me that's not a sign. The U.S. military is possibly capable of handling the collapse of the dollar. But we're not sure because General Mire, little cowardly girl, never did his job in arresting the governors who commit treason. It's his job to initiate the process through the U.S. Navy. He never did it. So the satanic cabal may be falling apart and the EU may be falling apart. Remember, the United States Corporation is licensed as a sole corporation to operate in Virginia. The Euro nations are licensed to operate, but they're owned by the United States Corporation. So if the United States Corporation is bankrupt, the Euro nations are bankrupt, which means eventually the euro is not going to be accepted anywhere in the world. So what comes next? What comes after this mass collapse in the United States and the Euro nations? No matter what though, the mass global awakening has started and it can't be stopped. Humanity will be liberated from this slavery, and we will not blow this planet up, and we will not do as the underlings of Lucifer says. Lucifer must remove himself with all his minions from this planet as soon as possible. That means today, or God will start dealing with him and his fallen angels in ways that we can't even imagine. So he says, so he has said it, so it shall be. May I suggest you go peacefully, because from now on, whatever heck you create on planet Earth will be created in your own lives. So God has said it, so it shall be. That's about it. Planet Earth they are attempting to liberate planet Earth from a satanic cabal. We'll see how successful they are. If we can continue to stop them from delivering a nuke to Washington, D.C. in a few days, if we can continue to stop them from delivering one to Washington, or Chicago, I don't care about New York, blow up New York. We don't need the UN anyway. If we can stop them from killing Trump, and I don't know what's going on the 3rd of June. I just see mass confusion. Maybe nothing. Maybe the newspapers will report, everything's okay, don't worry, lie like a rug, and Trump can't contain him. God bless, thank you very much, and we'll see you bright and early. Tomorrow morning, we hope we can get Colin on, because 80 million people, IRAs and 401ks floating around, and there are so many pension plans that people aren't tapping into. They have them and they don't know they have them. God bless, thank you very much, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.